Straight ahead on 12 News, a changing of the guard in Maple Grove. The city says goodbye to 4 longtime members of the police force. Then, students who hope to see artistic changes at the state capitol.
We're really trying to ultimately get Dayton on this too.
But first,
it was just engulfed and it was just moving so fast.
An apartment fire in Brooklyn Park requires more than 100 firefighters from 12 different departments. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. Residents of the Moonraker apartments were allowed to return to their units after a large fire early Friday. Eric Nelson is at the scene where more than a dozen people are without their homes.
Residents at the Moonraker apartments here in Brooklyn Park received an unexpected wake-up call at about 2:30 a.m. this morning. They were jolted from their sleep by a 3-alarm fire. The blaze started on an apartment balcony and quickly spread to all 3 levels, causing serious damage to some of the units.
It was just smoky last night here.
No injuries were reported.
It was just engulfed and it was just moving so fast. That was what was unreal.
It was a labor-intensive fire. The crews that were working there were working hard to try to get to that through that mansard in the roof to try to get this fire out.
Crews were at the charred structure early today, beginning the cleanup process. More than 50 residents were evacuated, which meant a major disruption for some families.
I guess the sad part about it is where are they going to go? And they were all outside. Where are they going to go? They had kids and stuff like that.
Yes, some tenants now need a new place to go, but thanks to the goodwill of others, no one will be homeless because of this inferno.
By tonight, everybody should be back into their apartments, or at least a new apartment.
Firefighters from 12 cities got to the scene quickly. For some residents, seeing their heroic efforts up close was a snapshot in time.
When I saw the firefighter up there and he was chopping on the roof and the blaze was just blazing, I was like, whoa, that's what you call a real moment, when you really see them in action.
There's no word yet on the cause of the fire. Now, according to one Moonraker resident, these tenants are required to have renter's insurance, which will help them recoup some of their losses. In Brooklyn Park, Eric Nelson, Channel 12 News.
Brooklyn Park firefighters also responded to a fire that badly damaged a home on Prestwick Parkway. The homeowner was trying to fix a pipe with a soldering iron when the fire started.
I had no indication of any fire, any spark. And interesting, fire chief told me that more than likely the pipe heated, and in heating, it lit the insulation.
The home right now is not considered livable. It is a big weekend for state politics. Republicans are in Rochester for their party convention, while DFLers are in Duluth for theirs. Several candidates from the Northwest Metro have a lot riding on this weekend's conventions. Former House Speaker Kurt Zellers of Maple Grove and Hennepin County Commissioner Jeff Johnson of Plymouth are vying for the GOP endorsement for governor. Johnson has said he will drop out if he doesn't get the endorsement. Zellers plans to continue on to the August primary. At the DFL convention, the only real contest is the open Secretary of State race. State Representative Deborah Hillstrom of Brooklyn Center is up against Steve Simon of Hopkins. Both have pledged to abide by the endorsement. Changes to the state pension system are spurring police retirements. In Maple Grove, Police Chief David Jess and several veteran officers are saying goodbye. Chief Jess is retiring after more than 29 years with Maple Grove Police. Staff and colleagues gathered to wish him well on Friday. Jess says it is bittersweet to leave police work and the close ties that come with the job.
And we're really good at helping people, but we're not so good about helping ourselves. So we really need to rely on one another. And so when you do that, and you have an organization like that, those bonds are pretty tight, and it really does make it difficult to walk away.
You saw some pictures earlier. Captain Tracy Stilley, Sergeant Jeff Garland, and Sergeant Mike Sargent also retired from the force this week. The 3 men have each been with Maple Grove for more than 20 years. If you have ever been inside the state capitol, you will see artwork offering a glimpse of Minnesota's rich history. But while the pieces pay homage to the state's past, the art doesn't represent the state's ever-changing ethnic landscape. Now, as Delane Cleveland reports, one Brooklyn Park teacher hopes that will change.
Lining the walls of Brooklyn Park's Community Activity Center
This artwork could put adults to shame. It's so beautiful.
are dozens of pieces of art,
This is like a street corner in my neighborhood, South Minneapolis.
all depicting the state of Minnesota
So this showed different seasons like the winter.
through the eyes of a diverse mix of students from Northview Junior High School.
We have white, black, Mexican, Hispanic, Hmong, any type of student is what we have, and we really welcome it there, and we love it.
Northview art teacher Rachel Laduff says the pieces are part of a project called Healing Minnesota Stories.
So what I'm trying to inspire my children to do is to find a way to impact the way people think through art.
So you're actually trendsetters. You
City
get to-
leaders say this art at the community center adds to the quality of life.
Your work out here is actually the first example of public art that we're demonstrating since we had this conversation with the city council.
But for Laduff and her students, they're hoping to showcase their work in a larger venue.
We're really trying to ultimately get Dayton on this too. We're trying to get this artwork at the state capitol.
The ultimate goal is to showcase the art in the Minnesota State Capitol, where many of the current work on display depicts that of white men, or what some argue is a one-sided view of history.
It's not to say that the artwork at the state capitol isn't relevant or isn't important. It incredibly is. But I think we need to represent something that's a little more modern, that represents the youth of Minnesota.
These students are doing all they can to have their work fill that void in St. Paul.
And it's like the youth of Minnesota that actually made them, and it's like relevant to today.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
The display at the Community Activities Center runs through June 6th. In the meantime, the students plan to send letters to Governor Dayton asking him to consider their art at the Capitol. Coming up, a special way to support young dancers. That's next in Weekend Showcase. Then a little later in sports, the Maple Grove softball team battles for a spot in the state tournament. But first, after a beautiful week, rain showers are moving in, and there's a chance for thunderstorms starting Saturday afternoon. Today's Weekend Showcase features a local dance troupe performing in Maple Grove. They are extraordinary kids who are moving and grooving and challenging stereotypes about those who live with disabilities. Here's 12 News reporter Carissa Wyant.
We'll see you for the big show Saturday. One more day. Good job, you guys. Thank you.
These young dancers are excited to rehearse for their big show.
You know, the one thing I want to see a little more of, though, is your beautiful smiles. Yeah,
From afar, they look like any average kid, but there's something extraordinary about them. They're part of the Dance Your Dreams program at Kincade Dance Industries, which provides lessons to kids who are typically excluded from mainstream dance classes due to disabilities.
When I held the first class, I was so surprised because they have so much going on up there, you know what I mean? Just full of personality, and I think it affects me more than it probably affects them.
The program provides lessons, class attire, costumes, and a one-on-one volunteer tutor for each child, typically an older dancer from the studio.
It's really fun, to dance with the kids, and it's really fun to get to know them and to teach them dances that they probably don't get an opportunity a lot.
So remember how we start?
And it's all free of charge for the families participating.
It's a priceless experience, so I'm super happy to be involved in any way that I can to help give back.
While these kids are learning to dance, their coaches say they are also learning something new too.
They're really no different from us. It just takes them a little bit longer to learn things. But once they get at it, they're really good at it, and you can tell they really love it.
3, 4.
I love to dance. Make me so happy.
For Weekend Showcase, Carissa Wyant, 12 News.
The Dance Your Dreams kids will perform Saturday along with a variety of other dancers. The show is at Maple Grove Senior High starting at 5 p.m. Coming up, a gardening lesson that requires some upward thinking. But first in sports, the Wayzata boys shoot for a spot in the state golf tournament. John Jacobson is in next with sports. it as a chance to sample some of the best foods of the Northwest suburbs. The first ever Taste of the Burbs gala drew a crowd Thursday night at the Metropolitan in Golden Valley. The fundraiser for PRISM's food shelf and programs featured 12 different restaurants from Golden Valley, Robbinsdale, Crystal, New Hope, and Plymouth, and raised $45,000 for PRISM. John's here now with sports, all kinds of tournament play and prep highlights. You've got starting with Maple Grove softball.
Maple Grove softball on the state for them. Maple Grove softball team took aim at its third consecutive Section 5 3A title Thursday. The Crimson needed one win to claim the title, while Spring Lake Park needed to sweep a doubleheader. Top of the first inning, and Spring Lake Park's Maddie Walruff connects off Sydney Smith. Walruff's blasts a two-run homer to left, and it's quickly 2-0 Panthers. Maple Grove gets plenty of chances, but they don't have much luck. Jordan Malk's liner to first ends a 2-on, 2-out rally in the fifth. Smith blows away the Panthers after that first inning home run, striking out 16, but the early runs hold up as Spring Lake Park wins 2-0 to force a second game. In game two is a much different story. In the first inning, Sarah Michael drives it down the line and right, and it's just fair. Alyssa Mickelson and Sarah Southern score on Michael's triple, and it's quickly 2-0 Crimson as they set the tone early. Smith is also a great hitter, and she comes through with the bat in the second inning, delivering a hit to left, bring a couple more runs in for a 4-0 Maple Grove lead, and they're well on their way to win. Taylor Meyer drives a pitch over the fence to lead off the fourth inning coming up. This will be her first home run of the season. Maple Grove wins 13-1 in game two. They win the section title. They'll face New Prague in the Class 3A quarterfinals. Track and field athletes in Section 6AA battled for spots in the state meet. Wayzata the host team this year. Boys 4x800 relay. Wayzata's Aaron Breyer can't quite chase down Eden Prairie's Cal Lawton, but the second place finish still qualifies the Trojans for state. Boys 100-meter dash. Hopkins' Shahid Hickman wins. Armstrong's Evan McClellan is second, and Wayzata's Derek Wadnick is fourth. All of those guys qualify for state. Girls 400-meter dash. Wayzata's Ruby Stauber clocks a season best time of 57.4 seconds and wins gold. And in the boys 400, Wayzata's Michael Smith goes 47.40, breaking a section record that had stood for 15 years. His twin brother James is second and will also go to state. More section track highlights coming Monday on Channel 12's Sports Jam. Local prep golfers took aim at qualifying for the state tournament Thursday at the Section 6 3A tournament. This is Armstrong's Ryan Myers. He shot rounds of 71 and 79 at Ridges of Sand Creek and is one of 5 individuals to make state outside of the team champion. That team champion again this year is Wayzata. Jack Holmgren shot rounds of 68 and 75 in the two-day event to win medalist honors as the Trojans will head back to state. Grant Raha also played a steady round Thursday. His second-day score of 72 was the best for Wayzata. Well, more on this tournament Monday on Sports Jam here on Channel 12. Champlain Park's Anson Kuznick tees off on day 2 of the Section 5 3A tournament. His total of 155 just misses qualifying for state. Dayton Federley of Osseo sinks a 10-footer for birdie on West number 7 on Bunker Hills. He shoots a 76 on day 2, but finishes 1 stroke away from qualifying for state. Maple Grove made the Final Four as a team. Trenton Barton with the birdie putt there. He shot 163 as the Crimson finished third. Zach Heiser of Osseo right on the money with a long birdie putt. Here's a rarity. No local boys in this section qualify for state. Champlain Park's Taylor Minger and Jillian Clausen of Maple Grove did qualify from the Section 5 3A girls tournament. Finally, time again for our weekly Channel 12 fishing tip. Here's pro angler Terry Tuma.
Last week we talked about opening bass fishing, and let's carry it to the next step. And what crankbaits, and do crankbaits work for early season bass? Absolutely, and hopefully everybody had a good opener. But with your crankbait, start out, especially in the shallow running, maybe the 1 to 3 foot areas. Flat sided work very, very well, especially some weed areas. And then just, going with the depth that these fish are going to be at, you want to get that crankbait, going to a shallow runner, a medium runner, then a deep deep runner according to the summer patterns and water temperatures, and crankbaits are very, very productive. They're not just a lure that we should consider using in the summer and in the fall pattern. They work throughout the whole open water season. It's just using the right speed, the right profile, the right color, rattles or no rattles, and crankbaits will catch bass throughout the open water season. Give it a try. Practice that versatility with the different profile sizes and colors and different retrieves. You are going to catch largemouth bass, and even try them for smallmouth. Really productive for smallies also. Have a great week on the water and release some of those fish.
Thanks, Terry. That's it for sports.
All right, thanks, John. We'll be right back. We sure hope teachers at Rice Lake Elementary in Maple Grove like whipped cream. 7 teachers got a face full of it Thursday afternoon. It was the reward to students who reached a fundraising goal with the help of the nonprofit Apex Fun Run. The students helped raise money to fund technology in their school. Well, growing your own vegetables has become increasingly popular over the past few years, but what happens if you don't have a lot of space in your yard? Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden to show us a few tips.
Nothing tastes better than fresh vegetables out of your garden.
Right now is the perfect time to plant your veggies.
Mostly tomatoes.
Carol Edlin has been gardening for years. She's buying a few more plants to add to her vegetable garden.
We've got a couple of peppers and we've got a couple of cucumbers.
But if you're a novice gardener, there are some veggies that don't require much work.
Cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers. Those are 3 very good ones to start with to get their confidence up.
Tomatoes are the #1 thing to grow in a vegetable garden. If you want to try something different, go with heirloom tomatoes.
They're old tomatoes, old world tomatoes that are, have been handed down from generation to generation, the seeds. And some of the heirloom tomatoes are just excellent flavor.
If you have a small space, you can get the same results by growing a vertical garden.
We have peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, beans, and peas in a pot that they can grow the whole season in that pot.
You can also enjoy the fruits of your labor sooner.
It's kind of like cheating. You have tomatoes already on the plant. Whoever buys this one's going to have tomatoes here in no time.
Normally, you would need a lot of space to grow strawberries because they tend to take over your yard. But that's not the case with a vertical garden.
They can harvest some strawberries right out of the pot, already on the plant.
Now, does it grow down?
It will, yes. It'll drape right down.
Whichever method you choose, don't be afraid to try something new.
But there are a lot of easy garden vegetables to grow.
In the garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And that does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.